I'm not very good with words, but Dad did his best to make sure that I was. He made me, get out, visit with people. You go with Ron. He dragged me over to Chips. I remember, playing games with him because, they were talking shop and cars, and I was over there. It's just kind of being there, trying to be a part of it. We'd go camping. I remember he would make sure that we had everything in the living room. And then we take all the camping things from the living room and we put them in front of the truck. And then once we get it in front of the truck, we know where we have space for, and then we put it into the truck. That's one of the things that he was very good at. He could visualize what was going to happen. He got in trouble with one of his welding teachers because he was hanging out in his father's shop, and they were welding around a beam, and it's supposed to be close to the wall. And the exercise was supposed to be you finish over here and then you go over here. Well, he learned from his father's welding friend that you could just switch hands and then continue on. And you can't do that. Well, why not? I just did. But he get in trouble for doing things that people, I would never thought about doing that.
Most people can't weld right and left-handed.
No, of course, not a lot of people, train with both hands. So it's one of the things that he really pounded into me, and I tell my guys when I'm training at my facility is the secret to knowing everything is knowing who and what to ask. Because he didn't know everything. But he knew, somebody that could plaster, he knew somebody who could paint, he knew somebody that did blowers. Like Chip was saying, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know who knows what you need to know. But you also need to know how to ask the question in order to get what you want. Because if you ask the wrong question to the right person, you aren't getting the right answer. You're not. You just need to know enough to get you in trouble and enough to get you out. And I tell my guys a lot of he had little chunks of sayings, like how do you eat an elephant? You do a beat at a time. You don't try to eat a whole leg. You have to cut it into itty bitty pieces. And because he had such a sense of humor, I love sharing that with people. And since I get to train guys, I get to share that. It's like if we off like a herd of turtles, turtle-yurtles, herd of turtles.
He did all those.
He did. That list could go on because he really, he liked making you laugh. He liked making you feel like you were included. And I remember he loved going to potlucks. And the first time we went to a potluck after his head injury, we all got around the food, and we hold hands, and I'm short, so I can't catch him. But he closes his eyes And he goes,
Oh, he didn't know I was falling.
and that was the part of the brain injury is,
No balance.
no balance. So I kept my eyes open, watched him fall, yanked on him. He opened his eyes, took a step forward. And that was, we took care of each other. It's like the gray truck. I'm surprised that got up and running because it was, most of my life an object in the garage. It was the stuff you played on, not something that moved. I called it the gray truck, and it's getting grayer. The amount of dust that was on it, it would become lighter and lighter every year. So I was enthused when I decided. Chip basically dragged him out. You said at the behest of your wife, but if you weren't involved and Ron wasn't involved, and it was just me and him, we would have never gotten it done, and we would have never started.
I have to hand that to my wife.
Yeah.
My wife's the one that gave me the okay.
Yep.
Many of you guys know around here, if you're married, you know where the loss actually is to something. And she did. She cared enough.
She really loved him as well.
They got along.
Yeah.
Gets along with my wife.
I think she still loves you.
He came and he tried to, at my wife's funeral, he came and tried to speak and he couldn't.
He wanted to so bad, but I didn't clarify that as much as he said, oh, it's gotta be a big font. And so they,
Yep.
okay, we'll do it. I'm like, no,
No.
guys.
Big
font.
font.
Let's do it. And
No.
take his phone and do this to
Yeah.
look at it. He's like, Helen, I can't read it. I said, so sorry, I should have prepped flashcards, words this big, then you can read what it is you want. And so he tried, so I stood next to him, tried to talk him through it, and then he just couldn't talk, because
Yeah.
he just got so choked up that
He couldn't see and he was crying.
Yes, it's understandable at that
It's pretty
point.
tough on him. I appreciate that he wanted to try. That's why you got me to talk.
Sorry, we're joining.
Oh, it's fine. Gives me time to gather my thoughts. Because, he touched so many people. He's still touching people. Like I said, all the stuff that I hand to my trainees, that, I have the opportunity to train mechanics.
Johnny, can we go with he's still affecting people's lives, please?
There you go.
Yes, he's still influencing people
Thank you.
with his love.
Choice words.
He's still influencing all of our lives. Because I know a lot of you said, oh, you look just like him. You look, and that's on purpose. I wanted to be just like him. I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be just like my father. Because, he was so kind, and he made you think. He wouldn't tell you what to think. He would just require you to think. Because as long as you're actually thinking, then we can get going. But I remember drawing what you wanted to be in 7th grade, and it was his description of himself. And basically, it was a really big nerd.
Yeah, Laura Parker protector his whole life.
Pocket protector, and I remember him, he's talking about he strapped his golf clubs on his bike.
Well, he finally gave up on the briefcase and switched it up to a lunchbox,
Yep.
so that he was less dorky looking, but he carried around a briefcase for years because it was useful.
Yep. I still think he only switched to a lunchbox so he could, keep his lunch in it.
He rarely kept food in
But-
that thing.
Rarely.
Rarely.
But it was, just a little container on top most of the time. It was, he put his fanny pack in there, and, all kinds
And when the
of
fanny
things.
pack stopped actually fitting around his waist and he started carrying it on his shoulder.
Yep.
With the ponytail, I'm sitting here going, Dad, all right, we need to rethink this one.
And then of course, his gag with the fake visor.
With the fake hair.
Fake hair.
There's one, there's a picture of it, I think it's over there, and it's the three of us, and he's got the fake hair.
Yeah,
Love it.
I guarantee I brought one, at the very least. But the fake hair, it matched so well.
He looks at me and goes, but Helen, look, I have hair.
I have hair.
Because he's been, what is it,
Yeah, he's been-
cul-de-sac hair for years.
Yeah,
Oh, he was so excited.
he started, building at my age right now. No, before my age.
It was because of Helen.
No, I caused the Santa look, the whole gray hair thing, I did that one, I didn't cause
That was the gray. That was the
I
gray.
did the gray,
He admitted the gray.
100%.
But I'm so glad that he basically led me in my life.
He was very, very proud of you, Jordan. He bragged about you all the time.
You know.
To random people that didn't know you.
I
It's
was,
like, you think that's cool? Guess what my son did? And it's just, I'm gonna get that.
because I was showing people, this one, because this is, you gotta have something to, just in case, just in case.
Mhm.
So, I remember I got him a utility key, and for some reason, he used that to fix the center console on his Mustang.
Mhm.
I got it for $10 at a Dollar General. And it's barely even a screwdriver, and he was using that to fix it.
Yeah, not as if, he'd used that to fix it while he was parked in the driveway,
Yeah,
in front of the garage full of all the tools.
of
But
course.
he sat there and went, I'm gonna use the tool that my son got me, this is very cool. So I'm gonna
Very
use it."
cool.
I remember that.
He was so, I was on his keys since I got him in.
Still is.
Yeah. Because I think I had to get him another one.
Why have it if you don't use it? You say that all the time.
Oh, yeah. I had to, he gave me his father's multi-tool, is why I brought that out. And I have that stashed away because that's what he used when he was a journeyman. So now I have, something to remember him. I have it engraved, so if it gets lost, they know who it is. And then on the other side,
There were 3 wonderful John Borgsdorfs in this family. You're the third one, dude.
that's why I only put Borgsdorf,
Ah, there you go.
because
Well,
Oh.
yeah.
I do like being a John Borgsdorf, but I've been, all my life, I've answered to John in school,
I'm Helen B.
Helen B. He was so enthused with his kids, and I remember just going around. He'd love designing things. We'd come up with ridiculous projects like having the projector come out of the ceiling. We could do it.
Yeah,
We could do it.
what he did, since he couldn't do much anymore the past couple of years, he would just, he'd lay there and he would build houses in his head.
Yep.
With exotic pool systems that drained in to do this and that, and you've got the ferns and all of the greenery and everything, which is a homage to Papa John, and then all these different amazing things in all these houses. I'm like, wow.
And then if you turn left, you see this, and then,
That's what he did with his time so that he wasn't bored, is he would build stuff in his head.
I remember when I was, I think 10, he gifted me a scale ruler, if anybody knows where that is. And I used the heck out of that thing. And everywhere I went, I counted ceiling tiles. Because if you count these ceiling tiles, you know how big this room is. Because, well, okay, so this is 2 feet that way. That way. So you know that from here to there is that amount of feet. And he would do that with me. And I had, troubles as a child, but he was very patient, if not trying to be funny about it. I remember a couple times where he would repeat everything he said. He would repeat everything he said. And he wasn't trying to be mean about it, but, he wasn't trying to be mean about it, but he would just keep doing it. And it actually helped because I had auditory processing issues at that time, and by the time he said it the second time, I understood the first time. So that was, but there was a couple times where I remember I get my booster seat. I was big enough to carry my own booster seat. I'd get it, it was at the front door, we go in, and get into the truck, and, all right, I'm ready to go. And then he dropped me off, and that was fun. We had a ton of fun, because he was very caring, if not busy. But a lot of the times he was busy because he was caring.
I mean, even when he would go to our volleyball, basketball games, and you were the cute little kid that was over in the corner with the basketball, or sitting there telling jokes because some sister of yours decided to teach you to say the word. He was always watching, and he was always doing it, and he's like, where's your brother? Okay, yep, okay, there we go. Nope, we've got this game, nope. We had the basketball court up front, the volleyball court in the backyard,
Yep.
And the same thing for you too.
Oh, yeah.
Except you got to do go-karts.
Yeah, I remember when he took me fishing. First time I've been fishing with a reel. Because
And you have to realize Dad did not like to fish.
no, he did not.
No.
We didn't do it very much, but I was going to fish, at least a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry, after the hear fishy thing from that one, you were totally hooked on fish for a while.
Yep, he was very patient. And he
supportive.
got me a little fishing rod, and I would stand in the truck and fish across the lawn, and then I would reel it in, because I wanted to practice, because I've never had a reel before. I only did sticks, and in that, you pull back, and it comes to you. So,
I freaking love you, dude.
I remember him, telling this story to a lot of people, because it's so funny. And he didn't berate me or anything. He made it into a nice little story. That's what he did. And so he set me down on a shoreline, and it's like, oh, you gotta bite, you gotta bite. And so I panicked. And so I pulled it in, and there it went. And it's, okay.
Good try. Let's try that again.
And it lands on the beach, and it's like, that was interesting. He never, it's like, we'll try again, we'll try again. We eventually got it, and we had a heck of a time. We caught some that lived, and we had an ice chest, and we brought them home. I don't know why we wanted them fresh, but they were in that ice chest, in some water, and then we ate them. But I don't know why we wanted them fresh. But I just remember him, he was very supportive. He loved his daughters very much. He just sometimes didn't know how to show it because, well, I don't know how to show it either. But
Raising you helped him figure himself out a lot.
when he loves telling the story of when I got diagnosed with autism.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I don't know if he has it, but I do.
You totally figured it out.
And
That's for sure.
and it's like, oh yeah. So I always knew that he probably was autistic, and that.
Well, there's no problem in
Yeah,
that one, anyway,
yeah.
100%.
He was.
And
He had Asperger's.
and that's
Right.
and that's great as a role model. Like I said, he wanted me to be more social than he was, get out, be. Basically, he wanted to be a softer version of Grandma Helen. Because Grandma.
Why are you guys laughing?
Because if Grandma Helen was here, I'd definitely be
Gotta have proper posture.
standing straighter. Because she would take her nail and just.
Stand straight.
But also his story is from his father. The fact that Papa John and Helen, had a relationship where you had the luau, and then you had the cleaning attire.
Once a month, she'd go out with the elegant with the gloves, all about it.
Yep. Jewels to the nines.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Papa John's, grilling a pig in a Lewis.
Luau skirt.
Luau skirt.
And flip-flops.
And flip-flops, he's just standing there flipping. Yeah, whole pig, whole pig. I always imagine him, because, so much. So I imagine him at the small ones,
You imagine little piglets.
No, not little piglets.
With the apple.
Ah, that's it.
That's the reason why we do a whole pig for Chloe's birthday.
Yeah,
You're the only person I've ever seen that, let alone,
would.
had it.
You've never really been around a lot of the big barbecue
That's
stuff
true. That's
stuff
true.
going on there.
Although we-
That's what Papa John did.
What do
He was the
you
go-to.
Oh, yeah.
Although I remember we did the dehydrating thing for, a long time. And when we would take a trip, and there was one time where we broke down and we had this big bag of jerky and this big bag of Jolly Jolly Ranchers. We went through the whole thing because we were waiting for Helen to pick us up.
In my defense, they broke down in Carlsbad.
Yeah, we were definitely out of town.
It took me a while to get there.
Yeah, so, but,
That was when we went to Legoland.
yeah, we went to Legoland, and there was one of those things where he claims that he did well, because I was at Disneyland, and I said, let's just go home. Let's just go home.
Yeah, that's how I got the day.
Yep, and then.
You had a whole nother day, so
Yep.
when I took him, when he turned, was it 50, and he bought the
Yep.
Jag, his gentlemanly car. I drove him down to go pick that up, and I got to use your
Yep.
last ticket to go to
'cause
Disneyland. I
we-
shouldn't
we
find
had-
anybody to go with me, so I went by myself.
Yeah, we had one more day, and, you got the day,
So I
and,
turned 50.
and when we broke down, we were just pulled off to the side. I remember there was a nice nursery, it was a nice day. We were just there, we were just sitting there, talking. Your dad just talked about that. I love that, because, we just came from, Legoland, and that was pretty good right there, I like that bit.
It's because you're his son.
And
So you just sitting there, yeah, we're broke down on the side road, but we're having fun.
Yeah, like I said, we went through the bag was this big of Jolly Ranchers. We ran out of places to put the wrappers. We were putting them in the cigarette things. And, we ran out of places. So we emptied the turkey bag that we started putting it in there. But he would have such fun, and that's what he wanted. Is people to have fun, enjoy themselves, and feel supported and included.
Thanks, got about tools.
I think Johnny learned how to be a mechanic. We all went down to Pomona to slaughter meet.
Oh.
Doggone his truck broke down.
There seems to be a theme here.